Hello everyone, my name is Anya Hawkins, welcome to my channel. This is a complete video tutorial for a Stellatus hat. Pattern for it is free and available on Ravelry. First I'll tell you a little about this hat and I will show you how it looks in the wild, and then we will knit one together step by step. Feel free to skip ahead using chapters navigation if you're interested only in the actual instructions or some particular part of the instructions. Also keep in mind that I'm a continental knitter and I will demonstrate techniques in that way. I love knitting stranded colorwork, and stranded colorwork hats are my absolutely favorite things to wear in the depth of winter. They are very warm and cozy because of their thickness, and the look they have are truly timeless. For this one I chose classic elements: Scandinavian star motif, slightly slouchy shape and fur pom-pom. Because of this star motif I named this hat Stellatus, which means set with stars. But what makes this design into one of my favorites is bright color. My first sample has bright burnt orange background color and deep saturated black as a contrasting color. In winter, when a majority of views around us are monochrome, the splash of bright brings much needed fun and joy into everyday life. And for my second sample I chose different but also very bright and bold background color and the same deep saturated black for stars. But you can go in a completely different direction and use light or neutral colors. So take your favorite colors and let's knit Stellatus hat together step by step. By the way, this tutorial is for very slouchy version of this pattern, the one you see on the screen. For less slouchy version and version without slouch, just skip parts that are not needed. All the techniques used in all of them are the same. To knit Stellatus hat we will need DK weight yarn of two colors. This will be my main color, this will be my contrasting color. Approximate yardage you can get in a PDF pattern, but there is no more than 50 grams of main color and 20 grams of contrasting color even for biggest size. We will also need circular needles for ribbing, bigger needles for main body of the hat, and needles for working the crown. I will be using magic loop method, but you can also use two short circulars or DPNs depending on what you have and what you like. We will also need a tapestry needle to weave in the ends and stitch marker to mark beginning of the round. Also, if you will use my cast on method, you will need a crochet hook. You can totally use any cast on method you like. If you want to have the exact same look as in a pattern photo, do the crochet cast on. I will briefly demonstrate how to do it, but if you want more information about this cast on method, in your PDF pattern there is a link for my crochet cast on tutorial. First, we need to make a slip knot. There are many ways to do one. I do it like that. I tension the yarn between my fingers with the tail end on the thumb and working yarn on the forefinger, and then I place crochet hook on top, point it downward and bring it up from underneath towards me. That creates this sliding loop of yarn, and then I grab the working yarn and pull it through this loop. This is our slip knot. Adjust it so it's not too loose and not too tight. It should slide around easily. Now tension the yarn as you do in knitting and take your smaller needle and place it on top of the yarn but under the hook. To give all of this stability, hold the tail end of the yarn against your needle with your thumb. This is our working position. To cast on a stitch, grab the working yarn and pull it through the loop. The first stitch is done. The next step is to return to the working position. To do that, hold your newly done stitch with your thumb and slide everything to the point of the needle, so your working yarn can jump off of the needle and get to the back again. Now slide away from the point, and we are again in a working position. Again, grab the working yarn, pull it through the loop, hold your new stitch with your thumb, slide everything to the point, allow the working yarn to jump off the needle, slide away from the point. I casted on the amount of stitches I need for my size, and for a knit join I need one additional stitch, This is it on the crochet hook. I just transfer it to the needle, and now I have my stitches plus 1. Distribute stitches evenly on the needle. Make sure not to twist them. Here is my cast on edge. It is everywhere on the same side. To join everything in the round, locate your last stitch. It is the one with the working yarn coming out of it. And first stitch. It is this one with the tail end. Your first stitch, slip onto the left needle, and then take your last stitch. It is stretching out very easily, and pass it over your first stitch and drop it from the needle. Pull on your working yarn to tighten everything, and return your first stitch back to the right needle. This joint will be virtually invisible. There is only one tiny knot at the bottom, and when you weave in this end at the end of the work, even it will disappear on the inside. Place your marker to mark the beginning of the round and start working the ribbon. The pattern is knit 2, purl 2. To the end of the round. I finished knitting my first round of 2x2 ribbon. Now slip your marker and repeat this round the amount of times you need for your size. I finished knitting my ribbon, and in this place it is always wise to consult a schematic and measure your work, so even if your row gauge is different, you can adjust for it. I had to knit a few more rounds than it says in the pattern, because this yarn, though of the same weight, is constructed differently from the yarn I used in my first sample. And on the next round we need to change to bigger needle. Just take your bigger needle and knit with it to the end of the round. The stitch marker will most likely fall off in the process, so put it aside and don't forget to replace it when you're done. On the next round, round number 2, colorwork starts. Take your contrasting color yarn and follow chart A. Colorwork charts are very easy to read because they look just like the fabric that you should be getting in the process of knitting. There are many different styles of holding yarn when making colorwork. You should find and do what is comfortable for you. The important thing here is to always hold them the same way throughout the project. I'm holding my contrasting color yarn on the left and main color on the right. With the way I'm knitting in close-handed continental style, yarn dominance is non-existent. But even so, I never switch the way I'm holding the yarns, just in case it creates a difference in fabric. Colorwork chart A is only 2 rounds. First is knit 3 in main color, knit 1 in contrasting color. Here is a tip for you. Spread your stitches on the right needle after each color change. Don't grip your working yarns too tightly when you do that, because it is at this moment the floats at the back are forming. If it is your first colorwork project, or even if it's not, but if you have trouble managing your yarns or getting correct tension, I recommend you to check out my beginner-friendly colorwork technique tutorial. The link is in your pattern and down in the info box. I finished my first colorwork round, and the second one is knit 1 in main color, knit 1 in contrasting color, knit 2 in main color. If you mentally continue this line of chart, you can see that it is again the same knit 3, knit 1 repeat, only shifted. The round ends with knit 2 in main color. Next round, round number 4, is the start of chart B. Work round 4 to 9 from this chart. I finished chart B, and between it and the next chart is 1 round in just the main colored yarn. Just drop contrasting color yarn and knit to the end of the round. Next round, round number 11, is where chart C starts. Pick up your contrasting color yarn again and work next 17 rounds from chart C. Chart C is much bigger, but even in it, there is no places where the floats would be longer than 5 stitches. And for 5 stitch wide floats, I find that there is no need to execute any techniques to catch them. I finished chart C, and the next round is again in just main color yarn. Drop your contrasting color yarn and just knit to the end. Next round, round number 29, is a start of a chart B again. The same colorwork pattern as here. I finished chart B, and here's the knitting will be a little different for sizes SM and sizes LXL. For size SM, the one I'm knitting, round number 35 just knit to end with main color. For sizes L and XL, there is again chart A and only then main color round. Do what you need for your size, and from the next round we will start last colorwork chart, chart D. I finished chart D, and for the sizes S and M, from the next round starts the crown shaping. For sizes L and XL, there is one more main color round and then crown shaping. Cut contrasting color yarn, leave a tail for weaving in later. And now to shape the crown of the head, we will be making decreases every round. Round number 1, knit 14 and then knit 2 together to the end of the round. First round is done. Round number 2, knit 13 and then knit 2 together to the end of the round. Next round, round number 3, is knit 12 and then knit 2 together. In other words, you're making the same amount of decreases every round, but the amount of stitches between them getting smaller and smaller. When there will be not enough stitches to work comfortably on this needle, change to DPNs or 2 short circulars or 1 long circular for magic loop. I'm using long circular for magic loop. When transferring your knitting to magic loop, the marker will not stay in place, so I just transfer it to the fabric itself to mark where the beginning of the round is. Use what you prefer, but for any method, divide stitches in a place right after knit 2 together decrease. After changing needle, continue until you have 7 or 8 stitches all together. In the last round, you will no longer have any stitches between decreases, so the last round, round number 15, is all knit together decreases one after another. Now remove the marker and cut the yarn. Leave a tail of approximately 6 inches or 15 centimeters, and using tapestry needle, feed this tail into remaining stitches, removing them from the needle. Pull to close this hole. I like to go around the same stitches one more time. And to bring this tail inside, stick your needle right into the middle. And the crown is done. And now we need to weave in all the ends. Let's start with this one. Go with your tapestry needle, catching pearl bumps on a diagonal line. and change direction a couple of times. Pull on the fabric to make sure that it's not scrunched up, and now you can cut it. When weaving a contrasting color tail, you have to be careful and not pull on this yarn too tightly, so the corresponding stitch will not disappear in the fabric. Make sure that your last stitch looks nice, and then do the same thing. Catch purl bumps, preferably of the same color, and change direction at least once. Weave in the rest of the ends, and the last tail, cast on edge tail, just weave in into the column of knit stitches. And cut the tail. The hat is done. Wet block it to adjust the size and even out the stitches. Well, that was it for this tutorial. Another sample of Stellatus hat is done. This is how it looks. This time I decided not to top it with pom-pom, though I had one prepared. I liked the look of the crown in this yarn and I wanted to show it off. If I will change my mind about it, I can always add one later. Also, I lined this sample of hat with polyester fleece. I always do that because the climate where I live is very windy and it helps a lot. And if you want to try it too, I have a tutorial for that also. I have a companion pattern in my Ravelry store now. It is Stellatus Cowl, a neck warmer that uses the same yarn and same colorwork motif. It is also available on my Ravelry for free. All relevant links are down below in the info box or in your PDF pattern. Thank you for watching and I will see you soon.